All right, Foley says being able to play 3-4 and 4-3 equally. That's right. Laura, where roles on the field aren't based off of gender, 100%. And that was the ball. Nice. Foley, any thoughts before I move on? All right. No. Okay, cool. No, that was great. I'm always curious to see, what other people think. So I really like this little diagram, just kind of distinguishing between equality versus equity. I think a lot of you have probably seen some form of it, but this one was nice because you kind of see what equality is basically showing. Like, this family's trying to watch this baseball game, and the little person, has been able to have that same experience, even though they're all standing on equal sized boxes. So technically they're being treated equally, but they're not getting the same outcome or the experience that everyone else is getting. So how to make that equitable is that we're going to have to, make some things possible, get some resources to the person that's being disadvantaged. In this case, the little person, we added another box to give them more height. So now they're able to kind of see the field, have that same experience that the other two people were able to have with the added resource. Ultimately, though, what we want to achieve is to get rid of that systemic barrier that was causing this issue in the first place. So we got rid of this fence, and now everyone can see the game, share the same experience without the added support and accommodations. And that's basically our goal in the sport. So we're going to talk a little bit about why is equity essential and mixed, and how do we know that we're succeeding. One reason that equity is essential and mixed is because of growth and retention. For example, people like coming to a team that reflects their values. So those could be many different things. So it could be the way you celebrate each other, the way you communicate on the field. It could be how, what you do in between games. So like our team, we play this game called disc ball. You can see the picture on the bottom left there. Danielle Welsh kind of created this game, just a way to kind of keep people up when we're down in between games. Instead of taking a nap, we're keeping our energies up, doing something active, sharing an experience with each other. It's still competitive, but fun, super chill and low key. So, there's so many different things, but the point is that we're allowing people to be themselves and having fun and doing it in an enjoyable way and sharing experiences together. People are not going to want to stay on a team that they're not respected or their values are not respected. And if they, can't find opportunities to own their experience and contribute to the team's outcomes, or if they find an environment that doesn't allow them to be themselves, they're not going to want to stay. So equity in that respect is really important to bring growth and retention to the team. Equity, however, does not mean that everyone on the team should get equal playing time. However, it does mean that every player on the team needs to have a role on the team. But however, whatever role that may be, you just have to kind of find that and make sure you create space for people to find a role on the team. And that's really important. Okay. So the second reason equity is essential in mixed is for strength and creativity. So some of the things we just talked about as far as, allowing people to express themselves kind of leads into the creativity, and it can lead into the team staying loose and being able to kind of share experiences, open up, talk to each other, learn more about each other. And one example on AMP is our wonderful Charlemagne, rest in peace, but this inflatable flamingo mascot. Some of the players on the team decided it would be cool to just get one of these and have it on the sideline to chill on and hang out in and whatever, and they took the time to come an hour early to the field and just like inflate this thing and put in the effort. It was great. And it led to like so many unique experiences and some, just fun stories, things to talk about. Also led to like this beautiful artwork on the upper right side that ended up being a tattoo for some people on the team. So, and now they're also on some face masks. I think you can get it on the Spin website too. So, just like fun, memorable, long-lasting experiences like this will build strength to the team as well. So bringing out each individual player's creativity will allow them to kind of become stronger, and each individual person getting stronger will make the unit, the whole team, stronger too. And speaking of strength, I just really love this picture of Linda in the middle, just guiding these people. And it's like Linda's just dedication to, the work ethic of what she does on and off the field to get to the level of play that she does is what motivates her teammates too. Like me seeing Linda do this will motivate me to work harder and want to be more like her and want to kind of make sure I'm doing all I can to also be the best I can be for the team, because I see that she's doing all that she can. So, strength and creativity, again, equity, it's essential for in mixed building the team. Third reason why equity is essential in mixed is if we do all those things we just talked about, it's going to lead to a successful outcome. And most people, when they think success, they think winning, and winning equals fun, right? So one of the reasons that AMP has been successful, especially in the most recent years, is that we have all the players contribute together as a team. So I remember early on when I first started out playing on AMP, we used to play in a less equitable way. I didn't even really think or know about equity or equality, any of that back then. But now that I look back, I'm like, oh yeah, we totally used to just, put like a dominant male cutter and isolate them, and then, have everybody else kind of just fill in. So, and that's the way to play. That's okay, but we can do better. And that's what we learned is, that only got us so far, and it wasn't fun for everyone, and it didn't lead to like the success that we wanted. So we had to kind of think about, what do we need to do to take it to the next level? Why are we still, losing, getting up to quarterfinals and losing, and it's just like so dreadful, and like this wasn't as fun as I thought. So, that's what we focused on. We were more intentional about trying to build a team of individuals and going and playing with every single player on the team. So to summarize that, equity is essential for succeeding as a top level team under pressure, and it gives versatility, depth, and discipline during those crucial moments in a game. And the fourth reason why equity is essential in mixed is simply it's the right thing to do. We believe none of us succeed unless all of us succeed in society and as a team. A strong community is one that looks out for and lifts each other up. If we're going to invest all this time and energy into, committing to Frisbee, let's then at least make sure the outcome is impactful, meaningful to everyone, and something we're proud of. All right, so let's get to the fun part now. I want to just kind of go over some video examples of different ways that we see equity kind of play out on the field. There are teams that use mixed to maximize opportunities for their men on the field. And then there's teams like AMP, Mischief, Mixtape, Dragon, Jug Handle, creating opportunities across the team and culture of shared responsibility for success. So it's easy for mixed teams to use the format that I spoke about earlier to create extra space for their best male athletes on offense, and then have the women kind of just fill on the side. But this style of play is not sustainable, and nor is it fun. And teams like this will struggle with retention long term, and players will have, will have a bad taste of, especially about mixed, and they leave thinking that like this is what mixed play is like, and that's how the mixed division gets a bad rep. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons. So let's see how that plays out. So he had to really, make an incredible catch to really get that. But I don't know if y'all noticed that the female cutter on the far wing was wide open for, deep cut there. But he just took that space without kind of having the vision of what is everyone else on the field doing. And we throw goes up and he made a nice play. Did they win that point? Sure, they did. Was it fun and enjoyable for everyone? No, I don't think so. So, this isn't going to be sustainable for like a long enduring tournament weekend. I think it's very predictable and defenses can easily kind of beat that style of play. This is actually a pretty good pool play. It's the same team, Snake Country, but it's a different game. They're playing Mischief here. And it's run through their men alone, and it has the women downfield explicitly to the role of clearing for that male cutter that's being isolated. And so they're getting out of the way and staying out of the way. And so, they end up winning the game, but really, who owns the win, right? Is it just a couple individual players? Or does the whole team feel like they contributed it? And that's kind of my point, is that I think we can be more ambitious and create positive outcomes that everyone enjoys. It doesn't necessarily mean every single person necessarily is going to touch the disc every single point of every single game. But the fact is that everyone's aware of their role and the little things that they're doing is contributing versus just kind of a couple of people doing their thing. So here's an example of AMP running in isolation for a male cutter. I think it's Sean Mott in this instance. But we make sure there's a woman involved in the string and the initial handling set. And we're using the play to create space. And then a continuation from the back of the stack with two women. We have a deep option and an in-cut option. In this case, I think they're Emily and Liz. So Emily going in, Liz going out. We try to get it to Liz. So obviously, the play isn't successful, but the structure of the attack was strong and equitable, and it's something that we will try again and with the intent to execute better next time. AMP isn't always perfect, but our ambition, the point of the ambition is to get it right. And so here's another cool play we found some good success with. However, it really only revolved around through the men, basically. Nice play, lots of space, but again, it just only relied on the three men. So we ran that play again a month later, but with the intent that we're gonna, include women downfield continuing. So we were looking for either having a woman at the back of the stack or a woman at the front of the stack continuing based on how the defense is reacting. So Paul goes deep. Gonna come under. Anna's ready for a fill if that didn't work out. So there's teams that, count all the touches and the stats, and we look at that too, and that's important. But if we're getting equal outcomes just because we're going through a particular man or a particular woman, that's still not quite equitable either, right? So again, we want to try to create opportunities for every player to show their strengths, and that takes every player to be proactive about how they act to make things possible for everyone else on the field. So the way we kind of hold ourselves accountable for that is the culture. So we're constantly, making sure that we're calling men, if we're calling men in the primary handling roles, we're making sure that we're automatically calling women in the downfield cutting roles. And not only just kind of, that, everyone who's involved in the string obviously knows, but everyone else that has a position in the stack is also aware and is doing the little things, creating the space, whatever they need to do to kind of make sure that their teammates are successful. So here we have two men picking up, and then we're looking downfield with Linda and Anna kind of working downfield cutting, but we also have Mott as a male cutter downfield, and he is recognizes that Anna's an edge deep and ends up kind of bringing his guy in to not, avoid clogging up that deep space, which again, it's just those little things that make the team successful and in an equitable way. Great space deep for Anna. And you saw Mott brought his guy in as soon as he saw that Anna had an edge. Doesn't quite work out, but super close. We'll execute better next time, but awesome play. And if it's a case where our primary downfield options on the pool play are men, then we better be starting the possession through our women. And that's an example of what we do here. So we got Andrea just centered to Anna. And we got Liz stretching deep, Mott under, so we've got both options. Linda making a great break to that cut there. Bobby with this nice, good flow, good options, lots of choices. And that's kind of another point is like, if one thing doesn't work, we have other areas that we're attacking. We're constantly thinking, creating, being decisive. Here's a later pool play from the same game that starts similarly. We've got two women picking up, one man striking deep, and then another under, but we create and recognize an opportunity for Linda to finish the point deep. Pay attention to, so Paul from the second goes deep. And you can't really see, but Linda's person and Mott's person kind of help with that. So Mott gets a wide open under, Linda gets to go deep with all the space behind her. So everyone's kind of doing their part. Everyone else who's not involved in the play is doing their part. It leads to the successful outcome. So those pool plays were situations that we had some control over, but most of the moments in the games are spontaneous, right? So they're the ones that are truly going to show whether a team is, how equitable a team is under pressure, when they're disorganized and they're off balance, depending on what the defense is doing. And we want to know whether those opportunities still flow equally and rely on both their women and men. So that's what we do, with our cultures. We work with intention and situations we control. We practice those over and over again. We talk about it. We talk about ways to improve it. We know exactly who's involved in the pool plays, where everyone is positioned in the stack to create the best space and opportunity for everyone. And with the recognition of diverse strengths and how those can be expressed. So when we do those over and over again, it just becomes, a part of our culture, our ambition, and our DNA. So then when we get into those high pressure moments where we don't have a plan or, there's no set pool play, we still know what we need to do, how to create, how to be decisive. It may not look pretty all the time, but we kind of have been through it, and we know how to work it out and trust our teammates and lead to a successful outcome. So this possession starts by running through our men pretty exclusively, but then it ends through our women. And pay attention to how Spencer at the end in the end zone recognizes Emily has a step, the cone, and pulls his man out of the space that he was also probably looking to attack, but he recognizes that Emily actually has a better angle and pulls his guy away from that space. So this is Spencer with the disc. So now we're working through a lumen, good spacing. So here Spencer's going to cut up one, doesn't get it. Anna gets it. Spencer has an edge maybe, but it's not great. Emily has a perfect edge to finish. Spencer does the little thing to get his person out of the way so we can get a nice outcome. So it's those little things that we value. And I'm going to show 3 clips here that demonstrate the 3 little things that are huge. So one is, the strong clear that we saw to create space for others to attack. Patience and recognition in the stack that makes the finish possible. That's the second. And the third, active work downfield, being aware, match up, and creating, getting that space cleared so that someone else can finish. So first clip, Paul cuts across to clear that space for Mott's nice break around to Anna. Well, I think we'll see it again. Yep. This is showing good stack patience and discipline until it's time to attack. And also, again, clearing space, and then Carolyn, perfect timing for the finish. But this is after we struggled a lot at practices by not having a disciplined stack like that. So again, it's it may look easy, but it comes with a lot of reps so that it's kind of ingrained naturally. This is, again, great job recognizing Carolyn has that edge up line, taking his guy out of that space. So there's no chance at all for him to get in there. And little things like that is huge. So it's those little plays that, we kind of actually get most excited about sometimes. We joke about this on the team, like, oh, that's boring scores are the ones we like. We like boring. But, it's because it's the ones that really take a lot more thought to it than like a 50-50, could have gone either way. That person just made a nice athletic play. And it's plays like this where we have lots of options. So in this clip, you're going to see like Natalie has an immediate deep score option right away. But that doesn't happen. We end up getting it to Mott under because his guy kind of poaches a little bit off of Natalie, and then we are able to still get it to Natalie deep for a score. So same outcome could have been, yes, quicker, yes, but much more predictable, utilizing everyone on the team, or at least more people on the team. It just makes it much more exciting and enjoyable. Wide open, still open, but easier way to kind of put that disc up versus trying to throw it the first time, that if it hangs at all, that guy, Mott's guy, is going to poach off and maybe beat it. So now the biggest test is whether this is happening naturally under pressure. So in this example, this is a point for half. Not every move is perfect, but we're all looking for each other, cutting for each other. Like Bobby was saying, we're trusting each other. We know, we've practiced this. We know we can kind of get it done, even if it takes like 100 passes. Using the whole team, being creative, calm, patient, decisive, hitting the open person. Takes a little bit of time here, but we're patient. We get an open. Nothing fancy. A nice, easy score. And this is our championship point this past year against Mischief. It was really nice, obviously, to be a part of that point, and it's a great example to kind of show that utilizing kind of everyone on the field, running through the systems, trusting each other, but being on that point too, like you just know you don't have to think twice. Like, okay, what's this person going to do? You know that we've done this. I trust them. They're going to make that cut. They're going to keep grinding, and we're going to get it done, no matter how long it takes. And it was just so cool to be a part of that, knowing that everyone on or off the field was literally a part of this whole process. I love that. Recognizing, okay, someone's open, Michael calling for it, being the open person. Pick. Let's do it again. Yeah, so I think, if we're going to invest like all this time and energy in each other, why not just do it the right way, make the most out of it, making sure that we're impactful, representing our community, and, playing to every single person on the team and sharing with shared experiences. I mean, that's awesome. So it's a great feeling. You're doing the right thing. That's how it should be done. And it feels great, and you can win championships that way. And some people might say, like, well, it's easy for you guys because you have Anna Thompson on the team. We believe we won't attract players like Anna or develop players like Anna if it's not a part of our culture and ambition to pursue a style that relies on and gives responsibility to players like Anna. So yes, it takes talent, but the team and their tactics play a huge role in making sure the talent is expressed, making sure that players like Anna stay and continue to want to be a part of the program and the growth, and making sure that the players like her, want to be a part of this team. So it all affects each other. And so in all these examples, obviously there were a lot of mostly amp and a lot of offensive examples, but there are many teams that exhibit great equity and success. For example, Jug Handle locally, or Mixtape and Mischief. Some mistakes that they've been in the finals many times. And Dragon Thrust is a 3-time national champion as well as world champion, and because of the strength and leadership of their women. And especially with them, they really show that on defense in addition to offense. And that's something that we're still trying to produce as well. So thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I hope that, it's a pretty, straightforward. It's nothing heavily, dependent on strategy or anything, but I just thought it would be nice to kind of share my experiences having been on a team, on this team for so long, and having seen kind of the way that we have improved upon the culture to get it to the way it is now, and what we do for the community and how we're able to be successful. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you have any questions. Chloe, I don't know how you want to open this up, but yeah.
So we do have one question in the chat box from pasta. I don't know if you can see that. If you want to read it, it's pretty long. It says
Got it. From Max?
Max, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Let's see. At the club college level, where you have people who have never played before, confidence is a factor. How would you suggest creating opportunities for equity and developing a team and being patient? Game planning is important. The more important thing is encouraging people to learn. That's a great question. That's a tough question. Patrick and I coached Penn for like a few years. Would love to come back again at some point. It just got really busy, but I definitely have thought about that myself too as a coach. Like, you know, I'm all business. Like, you go from playing like super high level club to like, oh man, people are showing up with like sneakers and they're trying out for frisbee. It's like, what is going on? But you know, they're like young girls that just want to get out there and meet each other and have a social activity and be athletic at the same time. So that's 100% a great question. I think it all comes down to the vision of the team. Like, you want to discuss with the leadership, the captains who lead the team. And I think, again, it's just making sure everyone's a part of it. So like having a meeting or a conversation to express like, what do we want this team to be about? What is our vision? What is our goal? Do we want to have like a competitive tier team and like a maybe more fun B team or something like that? But establishing that together versus like having just a few people coming up with it and deciding for everybody else, I think that can make a big difference. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the answer, but that's definitely a great question. Max equals pasta. Why does Max equal pasta? I don't know. Someone explain that to me. Long term. Okay.
Yeah.
Call him pasta. He's noodly.
Dente?
Yeah, it really is. You read the question out loud just so for the video.
Oh, yes.
For the next one, at least.
The next one, you got it. Virginia, my daughter is 12 and wonders how she can bring up equity when playing with mainly male players. So this is like an open team, right? I'm assuming it's not a mixed team. Yeah, for a 12-year-old, I think. I mean, I don't see anything open. Mainly pickup games. Okay. Yeah, I think just standing up for herself. It's really tough to do when you're 12, but I remember I also started playing open as well when I was in high school. That's the first time I played ultimate with a couple of guys as well. And again, then, you know, times are a little bit different then. You don't think about these things. So now I think education is key, and doing it the right way. I think just having that conversation with the other male players on the team and, you know, just bring it up. You know, I don't know what she's trying to get out, or if she's having any issues or what's going on, but I think putting herself out there and challenging them and educating them, I think that's a good place to start. I don't know specifically, you have to know specifically what you're asking, but you can say, you know, hey, can I maybe start with this next time, or can you tell me how I can work on X, Y, and Z to kind of be able to get the disc as a cutter, or what can I do to kind of, you know, score? It's really difficult, but that's what I would think. Okay. Does anyone have any personal experiences from playing mixed, or anything they want to bring up, or things that have worked for them? I think it seems like it's on the good trajectory though, but I'm not sure of how other people feel. Because I've only been on the one team forever basically, so don't have much to compare it to. What are some of the men on this chat? What have you guys done intentionally to be able to make women kind of feel more like they're involved, or try to make the team more equitable? Is there anyone that has had an experience, maybe in league or something you want to share?
I guess I can say I do feel that our club team here has a lot of work to do as far as making it equitable. And as former captain, I feel like I probably did not do enough to do that, let's say.
What did you think were barriers to doing that when you were a captain?
First of all, I do think we had the problem, I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier about we definitely had women on the team that were really strong and they were definitely involved. But then the gap between the women that were really strong and the ones that were not as strong was larger. So as you said, not everyone was involved, and we did not do as good a job as possible to build them up, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess that's tough because like I know I've been on a team that's had pretty strong kind of group of players for a while. So yeah, there's not like a huge drop off or a large gap like you're saying. But I think I'm just thinking out loud also, if you can get them, okay, maybe not be able to like necessarily involved a lot on the field per se, eventually yes, but like having them at least like involved in some other way, like finding a role that would make them be a part of the team so that they're motivated to then kind of get better, right? Like I was using the Linda example, like, okay, I see that she's doing X, Y, and Z to like be clearly the player that she is, and like people want that, right? So having players motivate each other, empower each other, I think that's great. Yeah, figuring out what other role that some of those other players can play in addition, hopefully that they can then become more involved on the field play
too. One thing that I try to do is, and I'm sure I don't always do it, but just like not following up when a woman speaks. I've seen like, especially at league, like a lot of female captains lead a huddle and then the male captain like says everything that she says again in a different way to like cap it off. So I try to just like leave that space, like she handled it and we'll all listen to her. Like we don't need a man to repeat it.
That's a great point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but I definitely remember in Winter League one time I spoke up to one of the male, I'll call him out, I think it was Nikki, but yeah, I was like, no, I can't let this go, because then, that's how it just keeps building. And I said it, he took it, and he was like happy that I said it, and that was it. Like, it was great. So don't be afraid to challenge a male teammate if it was your space to talk, or if you specifically, let's say you were captaining that point or whatever, you know. So I think we also have to speak up too.
So I really like that Bobby brought in like leagues, because that's primarily what we do here for Lehigh Valley Ultimate, as we run the different leagues. What do you think we can do? And it's just a very different atmosphere than what AMP is doing, obviously.
Yeah.
What are some things that we could do you think, to increase some of that equity?
So you said for leagues specifically?
Yes.
Okay. And when you say it's very different than AMP, yes, but like how is it different from like PATA per se?
Probably not that much different.
Okay.
There's a very big there's a decently large gap or not gap, but like there's a range of talent. Definitely, our player pool is smaller than PATA. Obviously, we all kind of know each other pretty well by this point, right? We get new people all the time. We get a lot of inexperienced, both men and women. So really that talent, range really goes across both men and women. It's not just like we only have inexperienced women, we also have inexperienced men. I have found when I'm captaining leagues like that, I can usually make the new guys listen to me, but sometimes I feel like I struggle with that.
Oh, so you are saying that some of the less experienced players are not able to take you like seriously as a captain sometimes?
I feel that way. I could definitely be projecting that.
No, I totally get that. I totally get that. And I think for me personally, having captained with Patrick on summer leagues, oh man, it's even more challenging because he's a coach. Like he's a coach. Like that's what he does, right? So like he's the guy, the person to listen to, and I just end up just taking the easy way out and being like, yeah, just listen to him. I don't have anything to say. So and especially if you had a co-captain like that on the team, it would be even more difficult. So I don't think you have to necessarily do anything different. It sounds like did you have a co-captain too, or was it just you?
No, we always have co-captains.
Was it a male? What I would do differently, honestly, with PATA, if I could, I would say like let people captain with whoever they want. Like, what if I want to have another woman as my co-captain?
We actually, our spring league that got canceled was supposed to be all women captains, and I think pasta. Because I think
that's one thing I would want to change differently, to be honest.
So it was happening.
So there you go.
I guess I'm going to think about my thoughts a little bit more. Someone else.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Let's see. Max has another question. What are your thoughts on how mix changes the strategy of the game? Like, for example, handler defense can be different with switching if there's a male and female handler. Do you think people should try to stay guarding just their gender, or do you emphasize playing, for example, junkie zone stuff to eliminate gender mismatches? And on offense, do you try to capitalize on said mismatches? I remember watching a clip from TEP where a male AMP player peels off of his man to get a poach D, laying out over an opposing female cutter, basically just wondering how much is by design and how much is improv on the field. Cool. Yeah, I think we don't have like set plays where we are, that's like 12 questions and it's all good. We don't have like set plays where we say like, we're going to run this switchy thing. Like we'll have zones and things. Like we have a type of zone where we have two women kind of marking. So obviously they're going to have to mark some men and everyone else is kind of just playing zone downfield. And as far as the poaching question, we play very opportunistically. So on the field, you know, I know I talk a lot about offense today, but defensively, we're just as aware. So if your person is inactive, not doing anything, you are supposed to get out and go do something productive. So Bobby can kind of talk about this a little bit more too, but it's yeah, I guess you can call it improv. So we give you the green light to do that as long as you know how to bounce back when your person does decide to activate. So I think that answers your question, some of your questions. And thoughts on how mix changes the strategy of the game. Yeah, I mean, mix is a very different style of play, and it's kind of fun because you can mix, ratios. You can put like different gender ratios down the field, or we've had points where we've had all 3 women back handling, which is super fun. Just running like a homie with the women. There's all kinds of cool things you can do with it. I think that's the fun part. It's not really like, and there's some strategy involved, but I think it gets more interesting. We haven't really done that, but with like zone and mix, if we could play around, we've played around with a little bit, but having like a woman deep in mixed zone, I think we do that sometimes when like they have a female cutter hanging deep. We just say like, hey, switch with me for a bit, have the guy then go in and cover somewhere else. So there's definitely a lot more thinking. And switching is obviously more challenging across genders, but we still do plenty of times where like, there'll be a guy helping deep on a really good female cutter going deep, and then there'll be a woman deep helping out coverage on a really strong male. So we do that a lot as well. And it just comes down to like having really good communication. I think that is what makes that successful. Did I answer some of your questions, Max? I hope. Right. I think just reps. I mean, practicing with each other. We're a mixed team, so we play mixed, we practice mixed, and we're always throwing to each other. And when we do some drills, like let's say we're doing like a 4-line drill or something, trying to make sure that you are throwing to different genders all the time, mixing it up. I've been to like some tryouts where they intentionally make it, they form lines a certain way so that you're always throwing to like the opposite gender. But I just practice, like you said, you figured out you were struggling with that and you just worked on it. There's nothing specific we do differently. I can't speak for how common that is. I mean, I've heard it, but I think it's a little bit of just an excuse because like, it's probably because like you said, you've only played men's and so you haven't had that practice. So it's not that like throwing to a different gender is difficult or complicated. It's just like, you're not used to it. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
You're welcome. Now I really want to play. I miss it.
So there isn't a magic secret you can share with us, huh?
A magic what?
A magic secret. You just have to practice and get better.
Yeah, you have to practice. Yeah. As far as throwing to different genders, yeah, seriously. I mean, like you get used to the tempo of mixed. hmm And I think that's improved too. I feel like when I first started playing amp, um, it was easier to play defense on some people because you could kind of see like the guy kind of struggling, like, all right, this throw is going to be difficult. And like, you bait that and you can just easily D it. But well, mixed play has improved. Much more crisp. All right, we got another question. Could you talk more about ratio and how you would go into a tournament, considering how to distribute playing time? Ooh, that's a Patrick question. I can speak more about ratio. We definitely do a mix of everything as far as like going 4-3 or 3-4, and I think it allows you to kind of play more balanced. And I think we've even talked about like, or at least the mixed USAU like club reps have talked about like trying to play with like the roster numbers to make it more, like make it fewer and make it become more equal numbers of a gender. So now that we kind of play, a lot of teams play both, a lot of 4-3 and 3-4s, it allows for that equal play. But strategically, sometimes, yeah, we'll do different ratios based on, having studied the opponent. If we're trying to have like, if they're a male dominated, line, we try to throw as much for women at them as we can to kind of have one less male on there. Yeah, so we've done a little bit of both. But as far as playing time, I'm not really sure because I don't really deal with that. But I think he's always looking to have a good balance and make sure everyone's involved.
So you've mentioned it before that you've been playing amp for a long time. How many years has it been?
14.
14.
Holy cow.
So yeah, so I was curious. So you obviously have been in the mixed division at high levels for a long time, and you kind of mentioned how it has changed. But could you go into that a little more about how it was playing early on mixed and how you feel like it has improved?
Yeah, sure. So for me personally, it's a little bit tough because I'm also getting older and like slower, right? I'm not as like agile or the athlete I used to be. So I feel like with respect to defense has gotten a lot harder. But at the same time, I do think that just a lot more women, a lot more like higher, talented women are playing more mixed at a high level. So that makes it certainly more challenging to play defense. I think offensively, teams have become a lot more versatile in their use of different pull plays and just, versatility in general, having like a lot of tools in their toolbox to use. A lot of different styles. Defensively, it's starting to get a little bit more creative too. It's just everything's kind of gone to like the next level versus may have seemed a little bit more like basic. Like I think about like, okay, if our best team back in the day played like the current amp, like how would that go? I feel like we would just crush them right now, just athletically. But I think back then it was more, just like relying on like 3 or 4 like really, really, really good creative players and some athletes. And now it's like just everyone is like on the same page and it's like system, practice. So it's ingrained. Everyone kind of knows everything that's going on at the same time. Obviously there's talent, there's athleticism, but it's like just to another higher degree or another level. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Old man Foley asks an old person question. How would one make like you? What was that, Max? I don't know if I meant understanding your question. How would someone like you go about playing for AMP next season? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he wants to make AMP is what he's asking.
Well, first of all, you'd have to tell me all about why your name is Pasta. So I'll have to get to know you first. And then, yeah, come try it out. Actually, anyone's able to be on AMP right now this season. So hit me up if you're interested. You can be a part of the team. You can be on the group. You can, we're share workouts. But then we also share lots about like what we make, like we cook. And we share and post those. We're doing a lot of like work in the community. There's a group, there's an impact group working on trying to get people to vote and, you know, all the things. So not much frisbee happening, but.
What else do you do in the community?
So right now it's mostly just focused on that. This is something kind of, we're doing more of now. Before, I think most of the stuff we would do is just, you know, running clinics here and there. Gum clinics we did a couple of times. We have a lot of people that coach, like Bobby coaches Haverford. Linda, I think, coaches. Who does Linda coach, Bobby? Laura Marion? Right? I forget. So yeah, we've got a couple people coaching. So yeah, like, right now it's just non-frisbee, mostly just doing what needs to be done to kind of, you know, get through this election period and work on the activism, things like that. All right, let's see. Workouts are fun too, yes. You got to work out if you want to make next season. Step one.
So I feel like when I just thinking about workouts, when I played in like college, we didn't really even do workouts, you know, and you know, I think that culture is changing a lot. Is there a way to, I guess it's more of a club thing, really. I know any club team that I've been a part of, we've done like a workout group or like pods and, you know, stuff like that. Is there a way to, do you think, to kind of increase that at the league level?
Mm-hmm.
I guess just all around.
Like workout sharing kind of a thing?
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so what we've done in the past is like, we'll have like group me's or emails. You know, we used to have like a Philadelphia running group. We even made t-shirts, I think. But there's like different little groups, like you find your group of people that you want to work out with. And you just post on there and you go do it. Doesn't necessarily mean you're on the same team or anything like that. It's just like, I want to do something. This is where I live, or this is where I want to work out. So let's create this group so that we can all kind of share. That's kind of generally what we've done. I think that should be pretty good. As far as like ideas of what to do, I mean, that's another good way. It's like meeting different people and kind of stealing their ideas. Like, hey, what do you like to do? What do you do? And doing that. I hear pickleball is really fun. I've played a couple of times lately. I recommend trying that out if you haven't done so. It's like a mix of ping pong and tennis. All right. Well, I want to keep people from their dinners. Any other questions? Cool.
Guess not.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Raha.
Thank you.
Welcome. I learned a lot just going through this myself, and there's plenty to learn too. So keep the conversation going, and yeah, I hope to see some of you out there soon.
Yeah.
All right. I will find a way to I'll ask Patrick to maybe find a link to share these clips if anyone's interested in watching them again, because I know I went through them kind of quickly for future reference. Is that something people will be interested in? If so, okay, great. Yes, I will have a video link or something for you all to be able to access and take a look. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again.
Well, we'll stay on. If people just want to talk randomly, anyone